Oh yeah, you already know what time it is. Another package. This time from Atlanta Brick Co. What's inside? Only I know. So only one way to find out. Just pick myself up. Figure over here. Oh yeah. So, what do I have inside this box? Well, first things first, an Imperial shuttle, which is not nearly the most exciting part about this build. Here we are, a couple of minifigs from one of the best LEGO stores known around, Atlanta Brick Co. Let's just see who all we got here today. Hey, now as you can tell, most of these are Batman related, but of course we've got to go over the most, and with Batman related figures, we have to go over clearly the most important Batman figure of all time, Mr. Burns. So, as you can see, Mr. Burns right here, slightly used. Just pull him out of the package. There. Holding a nuclear rod, which probably isn't very safe, but I mean, what are you gonna do? And a fish with 3 eyes. Groovy. Next up, we've got clearly the most tragic Batman villain, a burn victim who is also a lawyer. Let's just get him out here. From 2012, which was a heck of a year for LEGO. Actually, it was a heck of a year for a lot of things, because let me think here. The Dark Knight Rises, Skyfall, The Avengers, The Amazing Spider-Man, probably forgetting a couple more, but those are just the ones I remember off the top of my head. Let's put our burn victim lawyer down here. And here we have Policeman, James Gordon. Not much to say about him. Gary Oldman, yeah. Just put Gary Oldman here next to burn victim and Mr. Burns. And then, of course, we've got the man, the myth, the legend, Throat Cancer Man. Notable for sounding like he's gargling an entire cup of marbles during the entirety of the Dark Knight trilogy. And finally, to top it all off, someone who I had to spend nearly $40 on, Tom Hardy, aka Guy Who Breathes Through a Crab. And yeah, with that, that should now complete my collection of Dark Knight villains. Those guys over here, I've got, let me see if I can get them. Scarecrow, and I'll be right back. And Society Man. Now I know what you're thinking. Dakota, why doesn't he have the purple coat? And the answer is really obvious. Because it costs $100 to get him with the purple coat. And am I really going to spend $100 on a singular LEGO minifigure? Maybe. But only if we can get to 100 subscribers. And yeah, that's my current, it's all the minifigures. So now we're just going to go ahead and put together this little Imperial shuttle. Right. Get that out. Should be all the pieces ready. These bags out of the way. And why is there a bag inside the bag? That's bagception. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing The Dark Knight Rises back when it came out in 2012. And what was funny about this was I was about like maybe 7 at the time, give or take. And yeah, I was used to like the Michael Keaton Batman movies, or even by extent the George Clooney, Val Kilmer ones from the 90s. So, and I also thought that The Dark Knight Rises, because the title of it was Rises, that it was the start of a new Batman series. Like, I thought, like, this was gonna launch an entire, like, Batman-themed universe. And suffice to say, I was in for a big shock. Because we went to see it at the drive-in. I was very confused as to why Batman sounded like he had been gargling razor blades. Bane did not look like Bane at all. Like, this is my one biggest complaint about the Dark Knight trilogy, is that if you take a look at the villains, like Scarecrow looks great. Joker looks amazing. Like, you obviously know that's Joker. Batman looks all right. Like, I'll give him credit. The Batsuit's pretty cool. But then you get a look at Bane, and you're like, who is this guy? Because, see, had I never seen those movies and I had just pulled them up, and you had just pulled them up to me and you asked me to guess the villains, I'd get probably most of them right, except for Bane. I'd be like, who is this guy supposed to be? And not to mention, it didn't help with the fact that he sounded like he was talking through an empty Pringles can. Because the way he sounded like peace is costing your strength. Victory is defeated you. I do the impression much better when I have an empty Pringles can, so yeah, I'm not going to try that again. Where is that piece? Yeah. Yeah, and then, you know, the ending, obviously, you know, that caught me off guard, too, because I was very young, and it was late at night, so I was tired, and didn't have much idea about what was going on. So, I thought in the actual ending, Batman died. And now this is where you gotta understand where my confusion really skyrocketed. Because I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, wait a minute. You started an entire Batman-themed universe by killing off Batman. Now, you can see where my confusion is from. Though, granted, you know, a lot of studios these days, they think that's cool, killing off Batman, but I think the fans have to say otherwise on that one, Chief. Let's just put these on here. Yeah, it's like the Dark Knight trilogy, I think overall, it's just like, it's okay. It's not my favorite version of the Batman movies, but they're still pretty good. Overall, I mean, Heath Ledger's Joker is phenomenal, and Tom Hardy's Bane, I mean, you take out the fact that he's pretty much just as inaccurate as the Batman and Robin Bane, and I will stand on that hill and defend that, okay? Because think about it. Every live-action version of Bane we've seen is basically just a brute who takes orders from a pretty lady. And now, I can already hear some of you clacking away in the comments, but it's true. Think about it. Batman and Robin, he was just basically the muscle for Poison Ivy. And The Dark Knight Rises, they changed his entire backstory, right, to where basically he was, you know, taking orders from Talia al Ghul instead of being this mastermind that he normally is in the comics. And then even in the Gotham show, they copied The Dark Knight Rises and made Bane into someone who took orders from Talia al Ghul. That's why, you know, I hope one of these days we see a Bane that's not just a lackey, as an actual mastermind. Another thing was, like, he didn't even use Venom, which is, like, one of his character's most defining things. And he just didn't. He just has this Mad Max reject-looking mask going on that I think is supposed to be like Venom, but I'm not entirely sure. And then he just gets killed off in the most forgettable way possible. Like, normally when I think of the Dark Knight trilogy and the way the villains died, you know, they're usually pretty memorable. Ra's al Ghul, he got blown up by the train in the ending. When the train crashed, he just accepted his fate and boom, died. Alright, Two-Face, he got tackled off a building after that intense showdown. Bane, he just gets blasted by the bat bike and he just rolls over and dies. It's completely forgettable. Like, every time I watch the movie, I keep forgetting, like, oh yeah, Bane just died there. It's just, I don't completely hate it. It's just, I think it could have been done better. But I mean, you know, with Heath Ledger's passing, You know, only so much could be done. That I think even Christopher Nolan himself said he could have done better on that. But oh well. I mean, there have been worse movies made. You know, so it is what it is. And I see people talking about like wanting to continue the Dark Knight trilogy with like a fourth installment. And my whole thing about that is the entire look. I may not be too fond of the story behind it, but the story is pretty cut and clear that Bruce goes through all this pain and eventually he gives up being Batman to be with Catwoman. Now, I may not like that aspect, but that's what the story's trying to tell. That, you know, he finally puts behind being Batman. So just having him come back after all this big build-up of like setting up Robin and, you know, Bruce faking his death and all of his assets being seized and stuff, and him being like, you know, old and retired, kind of like Daniel Craig in Skyfall. All of that just as being thrown out the window just to do another one is just, I don't know, man. And like I doubt they do another one. If they do, cool, but just I'm doubtful about the whole ordeal. Okay, now we just mount this here. And okay, I put that right there. And then I put that right like so. And there we go. We've got the little mini Imperial shell. Now we just gotta fold the wings up like this. Push that forward a bit and blah. Okay. Well, this concludes my build/rant. If you want to see more stuff like in this future, like this in the future, feel free to drop a like and leave a comment and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.